Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. All about nutrition from your favorite dietitian. Everything you need to digest in your mind. Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. Making you healthier one bite at a time. With Tony. Woo!
Hello and welcome to the Tips with Tony podcast. I'm Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time. Happy frickin' New Year. When you listen to this, it will officially be 2022. I can't believe everything. Just like we're in a global pandemic at the same time. The Tips with Tony now is a team of, a bunch of two dietitians. We're going to be growing soon. P.S. By the way, if you know of a registered dietitian, or if you are listening to this and you're a registered dietitian and you're looking for a part-time position that will eventually go full-time, please email me, message me, find me on Instagram, however you want to get in contact with me, tipswithtony@gmail.com, or a message on IG would be just fine. I'm officially going to announce that I am hiring. However, if I could if I could avoid the whole going through hundreds of applications like I had to last time, and really just kind of chat with someone, really let them know what I'm looking for, set up an interview, potentially, get them on board and, see if it's a really great fit. I'm going to go, I want to call it like a soft opening for applications. That's kind of where I'm at this point with Tips with Tony. So it's just so crazy that, oh my God, where does the time go? I started Tips with Tony. P.S. guys, Tips with Tony was a blog actually for 13 years. I started Tips with Tony as a blog back in college. And when I say a blog, I just did YouTube videos. I kind of had a Facebook page. I posted every day. Eventually it became Instagram, all that stuff. But I did have actually a blog where I wrote articles, which I still do today, just not as much. If you go to tipswithtony.com/blog, you'll notice that it hasn't been really updated since the summer. Partly because I got a brand new website, which looks freaking awesome, and they taught me how to update it, and I have yet to even open the video of instructions on how to update it. But anyways, I'm blabbering. We are actually going to talk today about the time that I was a gluten-free vegan. And the reason why I wanted to talk about it is because although I didn't do it in the new year, when I did it, it was I did it for Lent. I'll get to that in a minute. But all that to say that around the new year, we have New Year's resolutions, or just I'm getting healthy or getting healthier goals. And I think the first thought is to restrict as much as possible and add as much quote unquote clean foods or healthy foods, nutritious foods, and once again kind of falling into those extremes. So I'm going to kind of share that story today. Before I do though, if you are looking to learn how to have healthier habits in 2022, regardless of the lifestyle or the eating pattern or plan you decide to follow, I would love for you to participate in the Healthy Habits Challenge. I'm going to put a link in the show notes. Sorry, I'm yawning because it's literally 7 a.m. because there's construction outside my building and there's no other time I can record. And because if I say I'm going to do it later, when the construction's over, by the end of the day, I'm just shot. And I'm tired of being in my closet and moving my entire office into my closet. So here we go. Let me get some water and some coffee. Pause 1 second. Okay, we're good. By the way, first thing for energy is water, not coffee. Water will definitely help with your energy. Coffee will take about 30 minutes to kick in, but truly, if you're feeling tired or fatigued, especially if it's not first thing in the morning, lots of water. Actually, anytime really. Drink lots of water. Hopefully that will help. Sidebar. Okay, lots of digression today, but this is how I work. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for listening, by the way. At the end of this year, you may, for those of you, some of you listening might be new listeners, but I know for a fact that I have listeners since when I used to be a co-host on the Gym Wits podcast. So if that's you, shout out to you. Thank you so much for listening for as long as you have. I really, really appreciate your support. But anyone who listens, like, you guys are awesome. This podcast has grown. I think I haven't checked recently, but last time I checked, I had like 120,000 downloads. That's pretty freaking awesome. All right. I could like look at all these people that have like millions of downloads and get jealous and envious, but like 120, that's freaking good. And even if it was like 10,000 or 100 or whatever, like, that just means people are listening, people are paying attention, and this message is getting out to people who need to hear it. So thank you so much for listening. I really, really appreciate you. And anyways, what I was saying was the Healthy Habits Challenge, January 10th to January 17th. Obviously, it takes a lot longer than 1 week to develop healthy habits, but the purpose of the challenge is just to give you a really, really great jumpstart in learning all these different pillars of what a healthy lifestyle looks like, right? So you have to get into the habit, as I was just talking about water, about drinking more water. You have to get into the habit about eating balanced meals, prepping balanced meals, right? You need to get in the habit of moving your body regularly. You need to get in the habit of engaging in proactive activities to manage your stress, or even reactive activities when you're kind of feeling tense and kind of your go-to, method or self-talk, right? These are all habits. They don't have to be habits, but if they're not habits, then they're not going to last in the long run, meaning your results are not going to last in the long run, right? So at Tips with Tony, what we focus on is changing, who you are, your habits, your lifestyle, just the type of person that you are, your characteristics. And that's ultimately how we are going to get you to be able to follow through on everything that you said you were going to do. And not just do it when, you're working with a dietitian in the 6-month program, or not just do it when you're doing like the Healthy Livings Foundations course, but just doing it because it's who you are now, right? You're just somebody who eats balanced meals and hydrates with water and takes care of themselves and gets adequate sleep. Oh, that's another one. Sleep is a habit we'll be deep diving into, right? So basically this this Healthy Habits Challenge is I would say an 8-day workshop, right? So we're going to be going live on Zoom, actually. So we're going to be doing Zoom calls, but they will be recorded if you can't attend 6 p.m. Eastern during the week and 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern on the weekends. They'll be anywhere from a half hour to an hour. I have it scheduled out to an hour because if you did the Body Confidence Challenge, you'll be surprised. Nutrition and healthy lifestyle, healthy living, you can talk so much. I was writing out the topics for the Healthy Habits Challenge, and I didn't think I was going to be able to have enough ideas to talk about for 8 days straight. I actually need to kind of decide what's got to go because I forgot. I actually didn't even put sleep on there. We're going to definitely talk about sleep as a habit because it's super, super important. And we're also going to be mindful of that not everybody is able to, sleep at night. Maybe you have shift work or you work evenings or whatever it is. So we're going to make sure that we kind of go over everyone's lifestyle and kind of tips and tricks to help with their sleep patterns and habits there. So all that to say, there's actually so many topics that I don't even know. I have to figure it out and cut it short, I guess. I mean, I could maybe extend it. We'll see. But with that said, 8 days straight of free education, free value from the Tips with Tony team. So I'll be going live. My dietitians will be going live. Might even have clients, if you're hearing this and you're a past client or current client and you want to kind of chip in and kind of share your experience and kind of we could do hands-on coaching. Just had that thought right now, but I think that would be super cool. But all that to say, you're going to learn a ton. And if you can't watch the videos live, you can get the replay, but those who watch it live get access to, they could potentially win a raffle. The raffle is basically Tips with Tony swag and free sessions, free consultation, free one-to-one sessions with myself or a dietitian on my team. So super, super valuable, super helpful. Why am I doing this? Because I want you to live a healthier lifestyle in 2022. And I don't want you to be like me, who was a gluten-free vegan thinking that I was being super, super healthy, but I was miserable. Now, this isn't to say that if you choose a gluten-free vegan lifestyle that it doesn't work for you. However, with that said, it is very, very extreme, and it also might not be necessary. So we always want to be looking at like, why are we choosing this lifestyle? What's important to us? What are our values? So if you are someone, let's say, who has celiac disease, which is an allergy to gluten, you definitely don't want to be having gluten. And now if you at the same time, you're maybe an animal rights activist, and the thought of eating animals really makes you sad, and you're trying to it's just like something that's like close to your heart, then a gluten-free vegan lifestyle might be one that it makes sense for you because it's super, 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 super important to you. And then also you have your body just like doesn't agree with it, right? However, if you are choosing that lifestyle because you think that being vegan makes you super healthy and that being gluten-free makes you super healthy, then, or you like fear, I don't know, like too much like processed foods or toxins, and like you're afraid of all these additives and preservatives, and so you decide that you're choosing that lifestyle because of that, then that shows that your relationship with food needs healing. Also, being gluten-free isn't healthier. It's just something that some people have trouble digesting. So for them, me personally, that is one thing that I have kept out. And I always hesitate sharing this because I think it's super trendy right now. And I know I'm an influencer, and I don't want people to just choose to be gluten-free. Oh, if Tony's gluten-free, I'll try gluten-free. Only try it if you really, I was bloated all of the time. I had crazy migraines. My stomach would just like hurt all the time. I was super fatigued, and it just like nothing ever gave. So that when I remove gluten from my diet, I just feel a lot better. I have more energy. I don't have those migraines anymore. And overall, I just feel much better. Now, with being vegan, let me just back up a bit. Okay, so when I went to college, if you read my book or watched my TED Talk, then you probably already have an idea of what I'm about to share. But I've never really just talked about it in a conversation. And I thought it'd be interesting for you guys to hear this because I just want to get inside your heads a little bit. I hear you. I see you. I've been there. So all I'm doing as a dietitian, as an influencer, is to just get you thinking I'm like 10 steps ahead, right? That's why like when I listen to podcasts and I have mentors, I work with people or I listen to people who have been where I've been. So that way I don't make that same mistake. So I can save time, right? Because time is super, super valuable, right? Can you believe it's 2022? I can't. Like, I really, literally can't, right? So because time just is moving and going, you got to do something to change it, to slow it down, to take hold and to grasp. And unfortunately, if we don't do that, then we end up just repeating patterns or behaviors, or they get worse, right? So all that to say, when I was in college, I went to college as a dietetics major. I knew I wanted to be a dietitian so badly because one, I wanted to teach people how to eat, but really deep down, I still was kind of on this mission of like, how am I going to lose this weight, right? I was teased as a kid for my weight, and I really wanted to learn this, right? So vegetarianism was one of the very first things that we learned about in nutrition class. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. I should try this. I told people, and there was a part of me that was like, oh, I want to be able to experiment. Like, I've never been vegetarian before. If I had a vegetarian client, I wouldn't really know how to help them. The best way for me to do it would be to become one, and then I could really be able to help them, right? So that's what I told people. But deep down, I really just wanted to lose weight, and I was really secretly hoping it would help me. Then if you read my book, there's a whole other part about also, like, I ended up getting a boyfriend. And so I was like, oh, this has to be working. like here I am, a vegetarian, for not even like 5 minutes. I go to gym class, that I purposely took, by the way, to get that easy A. I go to gym class in college, and I meet my college boyfriend, basically. And so in my head, and plus I did feel better, but here's the thing, guys. I just felt better because I was eating more vegetables. Do you understand? Like, I was just eating more vegetables. And at first, like, I was initially, what happens when you start anything new, I did lose a little bit of weight because at first it was kind of restrictive. Like, I had to be smart. I had to be strategic. I was eating lots more fiber, so I was more full. So therefore I, at first, and I will say at first, right? I felt more, more full. So it was hard, whatever, to kind of eat a lot and be in that, have like an excess of calories, right? So all that to say, it worked for a minute, but there was a point where it stopped working, but I was already committed and I already kind of said it out loud. Everybody knew I was vegetarian when I would go home for breaks. At first my family, being Greek and Italian, didn't understand, but then they were like, no, like she's a dietetics major. Like she's just trying to be healthy. Like that's great. And then they were super accommodating. They would always have veggie burgers on hand. They always asked me, what would you want to eat? Like they would always make sure they had like, because at the same time, even though I was vegetarian, I didn't want to eat a whole lot of like the refined carbs, right? So I asked for like whole grains and brown rice, so whole wheat pasta, whole wheat bread, brown rice, like, so it's like if I was gonna not be eating meat, but then the only other options often when you're a vegetarian is people just assume like, oh, bread, pasta, rice, right? But they're refined, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I was doing this because I wanted to be like the quote unquote healthiest as possible. So I didn't put any of those refined grains in my diet. Meanwhile, I was so active that my body probably could have benefited from it. But I didn't put it, I was also working out a ton, whatever. But all that to say, I wanted them to, have not have like no meat options for me, but also the alternatives had to be like healthier. But so all that to say, my entire family completely got on board with me. They didn't change, but they provided and supported me in that journey. And so that happened for, I would say, I was vegetarian for a couple of years. Then fast forward to, I think it was my senior year. Yeah, my senior year of college. So I must have been, so college is 4 years undergrad. So my senior year, of college, it was Lent. Lent is usually around like April or May. And I'm Greek Orthodox, right? So everyone though, not everyone, I shouldn't generalize. I can only really speak to my belief system. And this is where, guys, once again, it comes down to your belief system, right? So if you are an animal rights activist and being vegan is super important to you, then that's great. Then that makes sense for you and your lifestyle. For me, that's not truly at the core why I was doing it, right? And so it's also coming back to the idea of like I was choosing to be a vegetarian to experiment with, so I could give clients an idea. Like technically, yeah, that's important to me. I'm a dietitian. It's part of who I am, right? But if I was being honest with myself at the core, I was really doing it just because I thought it was going to make me lose weight, right? So like I said, it worked at a certain point, but then it really stopped working, right? So now Lent comes around 4 years later, and truly in the Greek Orthodox tradition, and by the way, guys, I'm religious, but I'm not like that religious. So like let's be honest, okay? So in the Greek Orthodox tradition, the traditional way to do Lent, like if you're like a priest, is you do no animal products for the 40 days and no oils. That's truly how you do it in the Greek Orthodox tradition. But for years, most people just like give up their favorite thing. And honestly, most people do use it as like a diet or a kickstart. So they'll often give up desserts, or they'll give up drinking, or they'll give up bread, or they'll give up cheese, or they'll give up ice cream, whatever it is, or they give up French fries. One year I was so obsessed, and this was as a kid, I was obsessed with French fries. I didn't know this, they're called disco fries. French fries with melted mozzarella and gravy. It was like my favorite thing to order ever. And I gave that up for Lent one year. Why? It was so good. I totally just like for no reason. No, for a reason. But all that to say, a lot of people use it as like kind of like a diet springboard or like a jump start, or a temporary restriction period. But we know that doesn't work if it really are doing it for health purposes, because when the 40 days are up, you often have it and some, right? But either way, that's also not the purpose. Lent is not supposed to be about a diet. It's supposed to be about sacrifice. And I think truly, and not to sidebar, but just like we teach people at Tips with Tony, it's all about, your healthy lifestyle isn't about what you take away, but it's what you add in, right? It's about adding more fruit, more veggies, more whole grains, more lean proteins, more water, more movement, more sleep. Same thing goes with, I think, during the Lenten period or even religion. It should be more prayer, more kindness, more donations, more time with volunteer work, whatever it is. That's truly how I think, but I digress. So all that to say, I decided, you know what? I'd been vegetarian for a while. Now, here we go. Back to my mind wants to experiment. Really, I was just tired. I wasn't losing any weight, right? So now I became vegan. Okay. Wow. There was like nothing there. I was eating like beans every day, sweet potatoes every day, tofu every day, lots of veggies every day. But after a while, man, it got boring. There was like hardly anything to find. And I mean, it's possible, guys. It's totally possible. But anyways, I was hungry all of the time. And I honestly think it's probably because even though sometimes I would have like something like tofu with my meals, I really probably wasn't getting enough protein, especially at the level in which I was exercising. The other thing I would say is because I was still bloated all the time. I still was kind of hungry all the time. And guys, listen, when you're vegan, a lot of the vegan, even like the vegetarian vegan products tend to be made with like wheat, right? Or gluten. And so now I added even more of that into my diet, which now I know, fast forward, a few years later, that gluten is actually the thing that was causing my bloating, right? So it was probably also because of lots of vegetables, right? Lots of fiber, like fiber overload. But it was also probably related to the gluten as well. Probably a big component of it. So what did I do? Now another year later, by the way, obviously the vegan diet lasted past the 40 days because it wasn't actually for Lent, right? 40 days you're up. Should I go back to eating, going back vegetarian? Nope. I decided to stay vegan. So fast forward years later, I think for about a year or two, then I decided I was going to try going gluten-free vegan because I was reading about how gluten could be helpful for even those who are gluten sensitive. I got the celiac test, but I got a blood test. I didn't actually go through the whole endoscopy. So therefore, I actually don't know if I have celiac disease. And I've been gluten-free for so long, but I don't think that I do because I can tolerate like slight contamination. But I think I did an episode on this on another day. So I want to be mindful of everyone's time. So anyways, all right. So here I am, gluten-free vegan, absolutely starving. But the bloating did resolve a little bit. And then finally, I just was like, okay, this is insane. This is just literally insane. So I started to slowly, I called myself a pescatarian. So I started eating fish because, by the way, guys, from a nutrition standpoint, a vegan diet is deficient in things like vitamin B12, vitamin D, sometimes protein, so sometimes iron, because there's certain nutrients that your body actually absorbs better from animal proteins, and certain sources that, although they might look like they appear, like for example, like chia seeds and flax seeds, they are rich in omega-3s. It's not the most bioavailable by the body, as in like having like fatty fish. Okay, so definitely supplementation is often recommended on someone who's choosing to live a vegan lifestyle to kind of just fill the gaps. But if you can get it through food and you're okay with eating fish, let's say 2 times a week, then you don't necessarily need a supplement, right? So, and the reason why, guys, is because if you're deficient in those nutrients, you're going to feel fatigue, right? You're not going to have a ton of energy. Deficiencies can lead to other sort of signs and symptoms that are not really pleasant. So if you can get it through food and there's no like medical reason why you have to avoid certain foods, or, if your belief system isn't that strong about something and you can start to feel better every day just by adding a little bit more animal protein back in your day, like I would strongly encourage that and recommend that. Also, just for variety, our body loves variety, which is also a reason why a lot of like gut issues happen, is because it gets super rigid and our body likes biodiversity, right? Mostly from plants, I will say, but still, sometimes that fiber is just too much on the gut, right? And so fiber is super, super important. But like anything, guys, if something's good for you, that doesn't mean we want to have a ton of it. It's like we want to have a healthy balance of it, right? So I started to slowly add fish back in. I labeled myself as a pescatarian. Then I was like, all right, maybe I'll just do like chicken, like grilled chicken, lean chicken, whatever. Started adding that back in. I called myself a flexitarian. Then I noticed actually on the days that I had animal protein, I was so much more full and satisfied. Normally, like, food was always on my mind. Nothing ever felt like it was enough. I felt like I was always hungry. And I was just like always eating. When I started adding the animal protein back in, I felt really satisfied and I felt really good, and my bloating reduced, and I really did feel much better. Eventually, finally, this is a long story short, but I decided, you know what? Like, I don't need to label my diet. And I think that's where we're in a world filled with labels. We feel this pressure that we need to fit into a specific category. We have to be gluten-free, we have to be vegan, we have to be vegetarian, we have to be lacto-ovo-vegetarian, we have to be pescatarian, we have to be paleo, we have to be keto, we have to be whatever. And it's like, no, you get to choose. You get to choose. You are you. Your lifestyle varies compared to mine, compared to your friends, compared to your moms, compared to your sister, compared to your brother, compared to your neighbor, right? So your likes, your cultural preferences, your dislikes, your allergies, your intolerances, your sensitivities, your schedule, your ability to cook, your access to food, your budget. There's so many factors that come into play that your diet needs to be reflective of those, because if it's not, it's only going to be temporary. And then that's where you're going to get frustrated, because any results that you get are going to be difficult to keep, right? So really make sure you're asking yourself before you start a new plan, right? It's like, do you see this lasting? I say it in my TED Talk. Do you see this lasting past the honeymoon phase? So can you see yourself following this for more than 6 months? Okay, that's the first thing. But the more important question is, in the middle of it, do I even like this? Right? If I was being really honest with myself, like I said, at one point I liked it, but at another point, it was terrible. And I was a vegetarian for 4 years when honestly, my body was screaming, I'm bloated, I'm hungry, I'm tired, for 4 years. And then instead of me being honest with myself and being like, hey, you know what, maybe I'm restricting too much, right? Or maybe my body would benefit from animal protein, or maybe it's the gluten. I could have figured that out before. Instead of going gluten-free vegan, I could have just been a gluten-free vegetarian. Maybe it would have been fine. I really needed to explore that, right? And instead of doing that, I basically was just like, oh, let me make this harder. Let me make this a lot harder on myself, right? And I basically lied to myself. And then the last question is, when you're done, right? So now, as I transitioned out of being a gluten-free vegan, I needed to realize that this doesn't mean now that I stop eating vegetables, right? So the term vegetarian is like vegetables are present, right? I don't need to be a vegetarian to make vegetables the star of the dish. You don't need to be a vegetarian to make vegetables are the star of the dish, right? All we want to do is make sure to be a healthy, balanced human in regards to nutrition, because there's many other ways in life we can be healthy and balanced. But in regards to nutrition, is that we're eating vegetables daily. If that, you want to focus on that for 2022, highly recommend, highly encourage. That doesn't mean you have to have vegetables at every single meal and every single snack. It also doesn't mean you need to have it every time you eat. But we want to work your way up to eventually having, I would say, 4 to 5 servings of vegetables a day. That's a very general, but often pretty consistent recommendation, right? So that might seem like a lot, but if you use the plate method, which I've taught ad nauseum, but maybe you're new, so I'm always never going to assume that you don't know what this is. The plate method is filling half of your plate with non-starchy vegetables, a quarter protein, and a quarter starch. And if you do that one time a day, frequently in the United States, it's a pretty standard dinner meal, I would say. But depending on where you live, it might make sense for another meal. But I would say one time a day, I want you to use that plate method, right? So if you're filling half of your plate with non-starchy veggies, say it's, or if you did non-starchy veggies and like a side salad, that's like 4 servings of vegetables right there, right? Because you might have like 2 cups of broccoli, or a cup of broccoli and a cup of baby carrots, and then a side salad that maybe has like cucumber and tomato in it, right? So that's a really great way to get your veggies in just one meal alone. And then maybe for a snack later that day, you had like some sugar snap peas, okay? Or you have like in the morning, maybe you put in some like cauliflower in your omelet, or tomato and onion in your omelet, or whatever, something like that. You could even do it at breakfast. And And then later that day for lunch, you have a salad. And then dinner, you still want to fill your plate with veggies, but you might not have to go crazy with it because you already got it in the morning, right? So that's where it becomes very unique in how you want to implement it. But all that to say, when you eat more vegetables, you will feel better. You'll have more energy. It's basically like, instead of taking all these a ton of different supplements, it's basically like you're eating your vitamins and minerals. They have antioxidants, which helps with decreasing inflammation, which can potentially prevent different forms of cancer. Obviously, nothing is guaranteed, but it is really helpful. And then also in the sense that you'll notice that you just feel better because maybe you're not having too much, right? We don't want to exclude the carbohydrate or, the rice or the pasta, right? But maybe you realize because you're having the non-starchy veggies, you're having less of that, and you still have your protein. We have a good, decent amount, but you don't go crazy with it, and it's balanced. And so that's the lesson, guys. You don't have to be a vegetarian to make vegetables the star of the dish. If you choose that lifestyle, that's totally fine, but be honest with yourself and why you're choosing it. Okay. It's also okay to change. You don't have to stick to something forever. That's like been my biggest issue for so long. It's like, if it worked one time, I'm going to make it work again. I'm going to push it and 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 push it. And just hope one day something's going to give. But if things aren't working, we got to make shifts, right? We got to be open. We have to explore new ways and new ideas and just trust the process, right? And take it one day at a time, all right? You're not a failure if you give up. If you've been vegetarian for 10 years and now you're like, you know what? I'm really being honest. This is not working well for me. It's okay to change that. We can shift. We can change. I think the hardest part for a lot of people is that it becomes part of their identity, right? And so when it becomes part of your identity, it becomes really challenging to create a new identity. But I would love for people to get to this place where it's not who they are, it's a part of who they are, right? Same thing with your body. I think a lot of people just like attach their body and their weight to their worth. It's a part of who you are. It's not all of who you are, right? So what you eat, it's just part of who you are, right? So part of who you are is someone who eats balanced and nutritious and, eats food for pleasure, but then also eats food for like just their physical body needs and self-care. And that's who you are. And because that's who you are, part of your diet is X, Y, and Z. Does that make sense? All right. I feel like I've rambled for a really long time, but I hope that this helps you to maybe potentially help you notice whether you're doing this sort of, changes in your diet, whether it's a gluten-free, vegan, vegetarian, or maybe you started a new meal plan, or maybe you're trying Weight Watchers again for the 47th time. No shame in the game, but just be honest with yourself. Really be honest with yourself. Why is it working? Why is it not working? What shifts do you need to make? And who do you need to help you get there, right? If you need us, join the Healthy Habits Challenge. You will learn so much, even if you only watch like 4 out of the 8 videos. I hope you can watch all 8 of them, but if you can participate. And also the other benefit to the Healthy Habits Challenge is the community, the people that you're going to meet. Doing the Body Confidence Challenge was one of my favorite things, because just like everyone's awesome. People are just so awesome and so supportive. So I know that you're going to absolutely love the Healthy Habits Challenge. So make sure you check the link in the bio to sign up and send it to a friend if you want someone to join you. I think the more people that we have, the more accountability we have, the more fun it's going to be. And I'm just like super, super excited. So make sure you sign up before January 10th. And yeah, that's it. All right. That's it for me. Thank you so much for listening. As always, I'm Toni Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time.